T-Dog, J-Boy, and me, I'm Lugs. Our pride and joy is pumping our mugs. Be careful, kids, it could get rough. We're flipping our lids on sports and other stuff.
I'm J-Boy.
And I'm T-Dog.
Yes, sir. Lugs is on assignment and will be filling a report when he returns. What do you think that'll be about?
With Lugs, I don't know. I feel like he probably took a road trip across the continental U.S. with fish, is I think what probably happened.
I like that idea. So it's summertime. It's June. T-Dog's here. Good to see you. How's it going? What's going on? You got stuff going on? What's happening?
Yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy the weather. Probably after this, I'll probably take a run
Nice.
in the setting sun, and just trying to enjoy the summer as much as I can. I'm sure you feel the same, even though I know you just got done cutting the grass. So.
Yeah. Here at Stately Wayne Manor. Right, I mowed my own lawn and trimmed and such. I trim every other time. Yeah, who needs to know about this? But it's nice to get out and do that, though. Sometimes it's the only exercise I get that day. So, hey, it's worth doing. But let's move on, shall we? This is called Sports and Other Stuff. So let's talk about sports and some other stuff. First up, the Minnesota Vikings have signed Justin Jefferson to a 4-year, $140 million contract extension that includes $110 million guaranteed. He's just 24. He's set for life, I believe. T-Dog, I believe this makes two former LSU standouts, JJ and Joe Burrow of the Bengals, as some of the highest, if not the two highest paid players in the NFL. Yes, no, or am I off on that?
No, you are correct. Currently, the highest paid quarterback is Joe Burrow, JB.
JB?
I doubt he's known as JB, but JB, and then JJ, Justin Jefferson, he's the highest paid wide receiver.
And the highest paid player in the NFL other than a quarterback, right?
Correct. He surpassed, I believe it was Nick Bosa was at the time the highest paid non-quarterback.
And worth noting, the Joe Burrow fan club was founded and chartered on this podcast nearly 4 years ago. Yes, we are first, fast, and accurate when it comes to that.
And like any person should, when you're right on something, keep hitting that button over and over again. And when you're wrong on something, admit it, but then sweep it under the rug.
It's called promotion. And, we're not in journalism, so we can make stuff up. And that's what we do here. Okay. All right, so let's talk about JJ's contract. What do you think will happen now with other receivers who are sitting there licking their chops and say, well, I guess I'm next?
Well, first off, let's just give kudos and give him flowers. Justin Jefferson, entered the league. He had 1,400 yards receiving. Then he followed up. Usually, you worry about sophomore slump. Didn't happen. Had 1,616 yards receiving. Then had a massive, 1,800 yard season in year 3. And then even though he only only played in 10 games, started 9, he had over 1,000 yards receiving. So even when he was injured, he still had production. He still averaged, over 107 yards receiving a game. So this is why he's getting paid. And obviously, it has, everyone's like, it's a quarterback league. Well, quarterbacks have to throw to someone. And Justin Jefferson is that. And, he's not here to make his usual joke, and I'm definitely not gonna make a joke about Kirk Cousins because that's what the Lugs is here for, and I'm kind of a somewhat supporter for Kirk Cousins.
I think we are.
But they made the right decision. It felt like they only had money to pay for either Kirk Cousins or Justin Jefferson, and considering where Kirk Cousins was in his career, and obviously they wanted their own quarterback. Because that's just how it usually is when a new GM comes in, a new head coach comes in. They want their own quarterback that they brought here or they drafted. And that's what they got in J.J. McCarthy. And now that J.J. McCarthy's here, he's on the rookie contract, which means you can pay other people, which leads to Justin Jefferson getting that money. So
yeah, I mean, the difference, Cousins is 10 years older than Justin Jefferson. So, right, you can't pay a 34-year-old that kind of money. Atlanta did, but the Vikings said no. We're going to pay Justin Jefferson, not Kirk Cousins.
And like I said, I like Kirk Cousins. Again, you don't have to be like one way or the other. I think they made the right decision. We'll see in time if they're correct in making the right assumption. But I just think I think there's only maybe one or two wide receivers. I think you can make a case that they're better. Maybe their production hasn't been as good year in, year out.
Who would that be?
Justin Jefferson. Kicking off what you wanted to talk about, let's just say it. I know he was injured one year, and then his quarterback was injured one year. But when they were both at LSU, they were 1A, 1B, but one was clearly 1A, and that 1A was Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, I think I don't know if he'll get paid more than Justin Jefferson just because he plays for the Bengals, and the Bengals – they're willing to pay the quarterback. I don't know. I worry for Bengals fans that I think they'll get it done, 2 years down the road, but they're gonna claw to the very last minute on this contract. But I think they'll get it done because one, they have to want to keep Burrow happy, and I think Jamar Chase has a stake claim from here till the next 5 years that he has the real chance to be the number one wide receiver in the league. So.
And how long do the Bengals have Joe Burrow under contract? I don't remember.
Let me see real quick. They have him. He is under contract.
Yeah, we'll get our crack team on that with the Bengals.
Let me tabulate. They can void it.
5 years, 275.
230.
Yeah, okay.
In 2030.
Okay, so that's a long time from now in football life.
Yes. So, and they have they have some great they have, and I think the only other one I would make a claim for
CD Lamb. You're gonna say CD Lamb?
No,
you're not gonna say
look.
that.
I like CD Lamb, and he might get paid more than Justin,
because that's what Jerry Jones would want to do, right?
Well, see, you want to talk? We kind of already talked about this, I think, before. They're in this pickle because they decided they always wait to the very end of the contract. So the weird conundrum that the Dallas Cowboys in is they have three, I guess, critical building blocks, Jenga pieces, whatever phrase you want to say.
Yep.
All of them are up for contract. And I will say this. They will get maybe two of them back. They're not getting all three. And I'll just throw it out there. Dak Prescott is not coming back.
I agree.
This is his last year with the Cowboys. I don't know where he goes from here. We'll kind of see. We'll try to read the tea leaves on where his obviously he worked with Kellen Moore, and Kellen Moore is currently with the Eagles. So just throwing that out there, but not to say he won't get maybe a head coaching job somewhere after maybe 1 year with the Eagles. But I'm just kind of looking around for that. But if they might not get CeeDee Lamb, and I always blank on Micah Parsons. I don't know why.
He's the big money man, right?
Yeah. So, and he honestly, if we're talking about non-quarterbacks, he might be honestly. If you look at what Nick Bosa got paid, he has the potential to be the highest paid non-quarterback. And I honestly think he should be paid more than CeeDee Lamb. I like CeeDee Lamb, but CeeDee Lamb, one, I don't think is as good as athlete as Justin Jefferson. Jefferson fell in the draft and even was picked after CeeDee Lamb. But Justin Jefferson, for whatever reason, because of how he was used at LSU, a lot of people thought he was just a slot receiver where he's clearly showed he can win on the outside. And maybe he's not the burner that Tyreek is, but he has good enough outside speed where CeeDee Lamb, Fred Warner is a very special linebacker, but Fred Warner kept pace with CeeDee Lamb 2 years ago in the playoffs. So that's what I worry about with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is definitely a good player, should be paid as one of the highest wide receivers. But if we're talking Justin Jefferson stratosphere, Jamar Chase stratosphere, Tyreek Hill stratosphere, AJ Brown stratosphere. He's not cut from the cloth of those guys. I will say that.
Okay, back to Jefferson for a minute. So you mentioned J.J. McCarthy coming on, right,
Mm-hmm.
as the rookie quarterback. With Justin Jefferson's skills, he can make McCarthy look really good because he can probably cover some of his mistakes, don't you think? If he is indeed the starter, now we know he may not start right away, but
Oh, I mean, again, since we're both Bears fans, I guess that would be
yeah. Welcome to Bears Talk,
obligatory.
everybody. Hello.
No, we'll do the obligatory where again we're actually paying compliment to actually another team. I know a lot of people think with you know with what Caleb Williams was gifted upon like as a rookie. Obviously he has three very talented wide receivers. In DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and
Rome.
and Romeo Duzier.
Yeah.
But Shane Waldron has had some success in the NFL as an offensive play caller, but a lot of people feel fairly up and down. And if you kind of look at the last few years, the Seahawks have kind of had some problems in the red zone the last few years, and maybe that was more Geno, maybe that was the offensive line. Maybe it's some of as talented as DK Metcalf is. Maybe some of the limitations on like what he can do as a route runner. Maybe that was the reasons why. I don't know. But on the flip side, JJ McCarthy went to the best situation of all the rookie quarterbacks because Justin Jefferson, one, is the best receiver of the Bears or the Vikings. Then they have Jordan Addison, who last year in the games that JJ missed, Jordan Addison showed like he's going to be a very good high level number two. Maybe he shouldn't be thrust upon this role, but he showed he can fill in as a number one to some degree. TJ Hawkinson, he got injured last year, but he'll be back. They have him. They have some very good pieces on the offensive line. And then it really comes down to Kevin O'Connell, their head coach, has shown these last few years he knows how to really coach an offense. And, I'm not going to say he's above like a Sean McVay or a Kyle Shanahan, but he is, maybe like a tier down from that. And just, not only the personnel, but also the play calling. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
The big coup I think they have over the Bears. I think J.J. McCarthy is definitely put in the best situation to be good from here to the next 5 years. So
Absolutely agree with that. Coach O'Connell has shown he's got the smarts and intelligence and, has come into his own as a play caller under difficult times when Cousins especially went out. So I agree with that. So I agree with you. Dallas is on the end of an era type of thing with questions about Mike McCarthy, questions about Dak Prescott. And you got to pay Parsons. He's 25 years old. He's the future. You can shore up a defense. That guy on the field, he's a game changer, game wrecker kind of guy. And I think you got to do it. And you're going to do what you can about the offense. But I'm with you on that completely. Back to that.
I think the thing that's so unique about Parsons, just to talk about him, is just I think he has the weight of because he essentially when he was drafted, and maybe to some degree he fell for two reasons. He fell because he it was coming off the COVID year. He decided not to play. He opted out that year.
Yeah.
He was one of the few players that opted out.
Yeah.
And he did have some off the field issues. I'm not privy to what they were. Obviously, they haven't been a problem now. So, maybe it was a guy who matured. Maybe they were kind of overblown. I don't know. That was one of the other reasons. But one of the other reasons was he was at Penn State for the most part an off the line linebacker where, they've been devalued to some degree. And now actually in the last year or so, they've been revalued because there's not that many great off the line linebackers. But here's what he has shown as a pass rusher, even though he has the weight of an off the line linebacker, he has such tremendous power for his size and weight that he essentially is like a DN pass rusher. And that's essentially what he's been designated as, and how he was used last year and how he'll primarily be used going forward is like, he's just going to come off the edge and he's going to devastate you with his speed of power and just his overall power for his size. It's kind of like like amateur wrestlers, like he's an ant. He's a lot stronger than what he appears. Not that he looks weak, but he's a lot stronger. It definitely the punch that he has, and you factor in the speed and his ability to get around the edge. And like I said, I think he is clearly the most important piece for them to lock up, just because Dak would be, but one, Dak is older, but also Dak's not going to come back regardless. So I think they need to lock him up and, try to lock up CeeDee Lamb. And I don't know if they're going to go with, Trey Lance as their starter next year.
I forgot he's in the bullpen. That's right.
Yes.
I forgot about. He was our favorite too back a couple years ago. What happened to us?
Yeah, well, that's what
we were on that train.
Okay, kind of at the beginning, we both admit we believed in Trey Lance, and
pledge allegiance to the Trey Lance.
We will never speak of him again. And this is the last we talk about it.
But in the words of Mick in Rocky about Micah Parsons, he's a wrecking machine, Rock. He'll tear you up. You're right. He's like this guy that just kind of comes out of the shadows, and boom, he's in your face.
Yeah, and obviously there are some other great young players, but now with the void that's been left by Aaron Donald, it definitely feels like, besides maybe Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, like Micah Parsons, who's younger than both those guys, he has he's in position to lay claim to that throne. So
very fascinating stuff. I think we're at this time where some teams are ascending, some are hovering, and some are hitting the top of that bell curve and just easing over the side. And it's like that ride at, Holiday World or something, man. We're going to go 70 miles an hour and we're going to bottom out down there. And I kind of feel like there's a couple teams that are doing that.
Yeah, let's do one apiece. What's one that you feel, or do you want me to go?
No,
first?
go. You mean like who's going to bottom out? Who's on the top and hidden?
Yeah, who's currently got like a good situation, but they could bottom out as of even next year?
Eagles. I'd throw them on there. How about them?
Yes, I agree 100% on that one.
Coaching, quarterback.
Just because,
support
and again,
cast.
I'm not saying I read
and
these
Dom. I forgot about Dom. Dom.
Our boy Dom,
on the sideline.
Security, but it's just you look at what Nick Sirianni, how they created last year, and how they brought in Kellen Moore, and how they brought in Vic Fangio on defense, and it was kind of lost in the in the offseason a little bit, but it seemed like Jeffrey Lurie was kind of intrigued with Bill Belichick. Obviously, they didn't make the move. Yeah. But considering how much money he has invested in this team, and you look at how they readjusted AJ Brown's contract so quickly after they traded for him and gave him his second contract, and then you also look at how they just signed Devontae Smith, and then they brought in Saquon, and they're putting a lot of money around, and it can feel like maybe one, even though I know they just gave a lot of money to Jalen Hurts. Like I said, maybe I'm reading the tea leaves, and I know like 2 years ago I was very hard on Jalen Hurts. I was hard on Jalen Hurts, and he proved me wrong. And but it still feels like maybe to me, like you don't put that extra money into the two receivers and a running back, particularly when you look under Harry Roseman. The Eagles have never really invested in a running back, and then they go almost to the top of the market. Obviously underneath Christian McCaffrey, but go to the top of the market to get Saquon. It's a little weird, and it feels to me like when you're building everything up around a quarterback who you just paid this money to, that's not how you're supposed to do it. When you devote that money to the quarterback, like a Joe Burrow and stuff, they understand they're going to have to let go of a T. Higgins. They trade away a Joe Mixon because they understand they can maybe give him. You give them one piece, but like you're being paid as a top tier quarterback because you're supposed to make all these guys we draft or we bring off free agency and you take them up a tier or two, right? Like it's just odd to me. So I agree with you on that one. And the other one I'm trying to think of really quickly off the top of my head. The other one that I find kind of intriguing that I could see falling off.
AFC somewhere? Oh, Niners,
Yeah.
Niners. You know they got to pay Brock. We got to
Oh,
pay Brock Purdy pretty soon. Are you paying him or aren't you? He's only at $1 million, I think, right now. Now you got to go
yeah.
50. Now you got to go 40 million a year. I think this is his last year without an extension.
You know what? You might be right. Oh,
Christian McCaffrey's not getting any younger. Those wheels aren't getting any newer.
you have a good, and also Trent Williams. Trent
Yep.
Williams is, I believe, 34, 35, and he's probably maybe still the most important person on their offense,
Yeah, I don't know.
full of like
Think
great
about it.
players. So, yeah, you're probably right. And then I think, see, I want to say Buffalo, but I just think
Yeah.
that's more so for their head coach, Sean McDermott.
Probably.
I think they'll get with having Josh Allen, they'll get a good candidate if Sean McDermott goes away. I don't see them falling into the abyss anytime soon. I will say, actually, here's another one: the Dolphins.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's a
Because
good one.
again,
That's a good one.
Justin Jefferson, he, he's now the highest paid, and Tyreek. Besides Jamar Chase, I would make it. I'd make a case that maybe Tyreek is better than Justin Jefferson.
Mhm.
Tyreek definitely probably feels that way. He's like, wait a minute, this guy's getting paid more than me. Dolphins make me the most pay. So, like, that's what's going to happen. And, they're holding off on paying Tua.
Right? They're not sure.
No.
We're not sure. Nobody's sure.
They're still not paying Tua, and they're going – and maybe they get Dak Prescott next year. So – but, Tyreek is also probably mad that now I believe, like, Jalen Waddle is,
Yep.
getting paid maybe more than him right now from this season going forward. So it's, they're in a unique, and they lost Christian Wilkins, like their best defensive player probably on the team. So they're in a state of transition. And like I said, like just this Tua thing feels like if they don't get it right, I'm not saying they won't find another quarterback that works, but like, who's to say they won't misfire after Tua? And then then maybe McDaniels is gone. So
Right?
I guess I'd say, yeah, I don't feel as strong as an AFC, but if I had to pick a team, it'd probably be them.
Good point. Good point. Okay, we're about halfway through this edition of Sports and Other Stuff. We appreciate you listening to us and drop us a line. We're here. Just like us and tell us what to do. No, don't tell us what to do. All right, another talking point. I can't lay claim to this, but I heard it on a national show. What divisions will produce a new Super Bowl champion in the next 5 years? So let's just reflect here, shall we? Since 2020, 3 Super Bowl champions have come from the AFC West. Oh gosh, they're the Kansas City Chiefs. But we also had the NFC West with the Rams and the NFC South with the Buccaneers in 21. So any thoughts? Like you look at divisions like the AFC East, and you go, well, the Jets better win one, or they're not going to. Aaron Rodgers won't be around in 5 years. Or you look at other divisions like the NFC North, where everybody's like new. The whole teams are rebuilt pretty much over the past couple of years, with maybe the Lions now being the senior member of that division. And you're saying, well, yeah, maybe one could come out of there. What do you think? Anybody come to mind like, ooh, I think they could do it? One division. You don't have to necessarily pick a team.
If I had to pick one division,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the AFC North just because
I like it too.
of the Baltimore or Cincinnati. That's the primary ones. And even that's the thing. I think all 4 of these teams, I will definitely say Steelers are definitely a dark horse, just because a lot of the pieces on offense don't completely seem like they're going to work. It feels like if this happens, it feels like an offense full of ifs. If Russell Wilson still has something in the tank, if we're able to unlock Justin Fields, if George Pickens can become a true number 1 receiver, if Arthur Smith can, commit to a quarterback.
Yep.
I feel like they're the dark horse, and Browns are somewhat of a dark horse because Deshaun Watson hasn't been the high-level player he had been since 2020. And considering we're 4 years beyond that.
Hard to believe, but we are. Yeah.
It's fair to ask, maybe it's not coming back. I mean, I know it's good to have hope about certain things. Not definitely not in the situation of Deshaun Watson, considering all the dark cloud that surrounds him. That we
peripheral,
won't really, yeah, that
the
we
added
won't really talk
baggage,
about it. Yeah,
the
but
extras.
we talked enough about it. But I don't know if he'll become the quarterback again. But they have a good defense. They have Nick Chubb will come back. I don't know if he'll be back for the first half of the season, but if they can reset, because they made that playoff run with just a ferocious defense and Joe Flacco,
Flacco, right?
like just spraying it everywhere. And they didn't have a running attack. Jerome Ford, God bless him, he showed some talent, but like he did not show that he could take over for him when Nick Chubb went down. So, but
Well, and I think what spurred this whole topic, by the way, is
Mhm.
where will the next Super Bowl champions come from? Is that the Browns, in an
Mhm.
interesting move, renewed the contracts and extended the contracts of head coach Kevin Stefanski and the general manager
Mhm.
Andrew Berry. So they must feel like these are the guys who can do it for us. Otherwise, why are you doing that? You think they're going to be the ones that will win it for you?
Well, I mean,
Stability?
I think no, it's good. We see with the Carolina Panthers. I mean,
True.
I know we've squawked a lot about Bryce Young, and I think Bryce Young would have maybe got to go to a different situation with a better coaching staff, a better personnel around him, and definitely a better owner. His career, which is only 1 year, and he can definitely turn it around. Like it would probably be on a better trajectory than even it is now with some of all the player personnel this last draft and free agency they invested in them. So but yeah, I mean it's just mainly the Bengals. They have they have a good coaching staff. We saw what they did when Joe Burrow went down. Browning came in, Jake Browning, and they were able to smoke and mirror their way to multiple wins, and the offense clicked, and it was totally different under Jake Browning. And with the Ravens, just John Harbaugh has been consistent year in year out. Lamar, when he plays, and I know there's been a few years where he's got injured at the end of the year, but usually if you look at his record, it's a high winning percentage. And they lost some pieces on defense, so I don't think they'll be as good as last year. But it is second year in this offense, so who's to say that the light bulb won't go off for Lamar in this new offense this season? I will say in the AFC West, it'll take a few years, but it's hard to bet against. Speaking of Harbaugh's, like I think Jim Harbaugh is going to have that Chargers team turn around. And
So maybe Stefanski is the Tomlin or John Harbaugh of Cleveland, and he'll be there a while.
I think Stefanski is a good coach. I mean, I still think they need to iron out whatever their offense should be.
Ought to be,
Deshaun
should
Watson.
be, might be.
Yeah. It feels like it was just weird, and we see this a few times where the starting quarterback gets injured, and I don't think that Joe Flacco is better than Deshaun Watson, even though he's not the same. But to be fair, Joe Flacco went in the offense that Stefanski probably kind of wanted to run.
Yeah.
And he was able to operate it, where if you go back and look at Deshaun Watson, they were giving him a lot of simple plays to run, because clearly his confidence is shot, where Joe Flacco, they're just sling the ball.
Football IQ stuff, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. So
well, we've got about 5 minutes left in the broadcast, and Lugs and Fish are enjoying some libations somewhere in a sleepy hollow somewhere. What do you think? Under a shade tree, hollowed out log, maybe floating down the Ohio River. I don't know. Don't know what he's doing. But that brings up an idea we had is other stuff department, things you like to do in the summer. So you'd mentioned swimming pools. Tell me about that. Memories of the olden times.
Oh, the olden times. I have a lot of great swimming pool stories. I just remember when the Colonial, or not Colonial Club, when Camille Wright was open. I just remember this was after Ghostbusters 2 came out, and just acting like the pool was the good vibes or bad vibes, like slime, and just
That's
me and my
good. I
brother
liked
swimming around in it. And or I have a deep scar underneath my chin from my buddy. He had a above ground pool, and his older brother jumped in and jumped on my back, and I have this scar to remember that from.
Ooh, that was fun for your parents with the little trip to the ER that everybody in your family remembers, I'm sure, and with gasp and awe, and said, "Oh, we almost lost a T-Dog that day." Yeah, well, that's frightening stuff there.
But you know, it's unfortunate that I haven't got to swim in a long time. I enjoy a swim. I enjoy the smell of chlorine from it, and you know, I enjoyed the swim practices, learning how to swim at New Albany High School. I don't know. What about you?
Oh man, Little League baseball, completely 100%. Probably starting in the second grade. You had B's, then Little League A's, then you had majors. And I played up till the 8th grade, but here's what happened. I met the curveball, and I couldn't hit it anymore. And I was just, not very big. And at age 13, people develop at different ages, shall we say. And when guys are winging it, and they're about 6'2", and you're not, and they're throwing a curveball at you, and you got a, Louisville Slugger, 32-incher, and you can't get the bat speed around on that baby because it's humming pretty good. And this is before pitch counts. This is before pitching machines. This is a ways back. But I loved it because, getting the uniform, getting the color coordination. I was on the Sox, the Tigers, and one other team I can't remember. And it was fun because you went out as a kid and you got the baseball shirt to put under the uniform and you got the shoes and you tried to do your best to, do you want a Wilson mitt or a Rawlings? And, I don't like that. And then, get the bat you want. And so, it's kind of playing like a big leaguer. And we used to imitate the guys we knew from the big leagues. And I think baseball as a kid sport was a bigger deal in my era than, now kids are playing lacrosse and they're playing soccer. And those really weren't around much back in the olden times. So, but it was a blast. I really enjoyed it. But it was a short-lived career, no offense. And I wanted to play, and then when fall came around, I wanted to play in Little League football, but my mom and dad said no. So I got jammed up on that. I guess maybe that's why we do this podcast. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of it.
So what position did you play?
Let's see.
I know you probably moved around.
Left field, right field, occasional third base. Yeah.
Okay. So,
but I played a lot of softball as an adult, and I really liked that. I played in the league once. We played about 60 games one year, and it was a lot of fun. Second base. Yeah.
Holy,
whole summer.
Wait a minute. 60.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. We traveled around, and it was a blast. You got injured and stuff, but it was, softball. That was so much fun. That was really a lot of fun. We had good times. But, so summertime, it's baseball, apple pie, and Chevrolet, I guess. I don't know. And a good iced tea and whatever Lugs likes to drink with fish.
He likes to drink a nice Pilsner.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's right. Anything else tonight? We'll have to wrap this up, I'm afraid, pretty soon here.
No, I just want to say rest in peace, Larry Allen, longtime offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys. One of the key pieces to that dynasty of the early 90s, possibly the most important player on the team. He, I think, was a 7-time All-Pro, 11-time Pro Bowler. And the biggest compliment I can pay to him is he was so good because he was so innately strong that certain guys on defense, when they were going to play Dallas that week, all of a sudden got sick and couldn't play in that game because they knew that the game film would come out of them against Larry Allen and him just dog walking them play after play after play. And, they couldn't put up with how he would destroy their ego. So rest in peace, Larry Allen.
Excellent way to end this program. We're not sick, and we'll be back next week, God willing, with sports and other stuff, brought to you in part by Farrell Mobile Homes. Yes, cross that money-saving bridge for big savings. They're on the right going in and on the left going out, right where all them trees are. You stop in and ask for our guy, but he's on vacation. Fish, he'll be back next week. If it doesn't say Farrell on your mobile home, you probably paid too much. Until next week, this is Sports and Other Stuff, radio home of millions across mid-America. So long for now. Bye-bye.